Hello and welcome to Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai Aniakan, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at some of the major stories. Federal government to begin new minimum wage administration on April 1st, 2024. Stakeholders call for inclusion of communities to eradicate AIDS as World AIDS Day is marked today. Plus, Gaza releases 6 more hostages to Israel in extended temporary ceasefire. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. We begin the news this afternoon from the national scene where the federal government has said that a new minimum wage administration would come into effect on April 1st, 2024. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Idris Mohammed, who disclosed this in an interview in Abuja, said the current 30,000 naira minimum wage would expire at the end of March 2024. Recall that following the removal of the fuel subsidy by President Bola Tinubu on May 29, 2023, the federal government had agreed to pay 35,000 naira to each of its workers to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. But the organized labor insisted that the 35,000 naira wage award was a temporary measure, adding that the minimum wage should be reviewed in 2024. Meanwhile, the federal government has said that it had raised 585 million naira towards the settlement of fines for inmates in a bid to decongest correctional centers across the country. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubumi Tunji-Ojo, represented by an Assistant Director in the Ministry, Dr. Anayo Romanus Nzekoe, disclosed this on Thursday in Kano during the release of 150 inmates whose fines were settled by the federal government. The minister said the 150 inmates were among the 4,069 inmates nationwide that the government intended to free in line with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. He explained that all inmates in the custodial centers who have fines and compensation not exceeding 1 million naira were qualified to benefit from the gesture. Move now to the Red Chambers, where the Senate has commenced debate on the 2024 budget a day after President Bola Tinubu presented the budget of 27.5 trillion naira to a joint session of the National Assembly, leading the debate on the general principles of the 2024 appropriation bill. During the plenary, the Senate leader Okpeyemi Bamidele announced that the bill is deemed to have been read for the first time by the presentation before the joint session of the National Assembly, hence the commencement of the general debate. He urged the lawmakers to approve the second reading of the 2024 appropriation bill for consideration by the Appropriation Committee and subcommittees. Okpeyemi said the budget was designed to prioritize electricity challenges, procurement of vaccines, construction of major roads across the country, and construction of railway projects, adding that the parameters and fiscal assumptions of the proposed budget would develop economic activities of the country and transform living conditions of Nigerians. Supporting the motion, Senator representing Delta South Joel Thomas said when the budget is passed, it will facilitate a renewed hope for Nigerians. Meanwhile, the Senate has summoned the Minister of Mines and Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, to appear before its Committee on Solid Minerals next week, Wednesday. He is expected to brief the committee on the federal government's work plan to develop the sector and block illegal mining. The panel berated Alake for allegedly disregarding all invitations so far sent to him since he was appointed by the president. The committee resolved during its meeting and expressed dissatisfaction about the failure of the minister to appear before it. The panel said Alake was fond of giving excuses while expressing concerns that the minister had abandoned his primary duties of bringing the mining sector to international repute. It stressed that Alake was relatively inexperienced in the sector and had further created a cloudy future for the yet-to-be explored wealth. The committee therefore threatened to give zero allocation to the ministry in the 2024 fiscal year if the minister failed to amend his ways to start responding to the invitations of the committee. Away from that, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyode, has called on civil society organizations, CSOs, across the country to join the commission in driving its anti-corruption campaigns to the grassroots. Olukoyode made the call in a statement issued in Abuja today by EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewole during a one-day engagement parley between the EFCC and CSOs drawn from Kebbi, Zamfara and Sokoto State. According to him, engagement with CSOs had become imperative in the quest of the EFCC to build synergy with different interest groups, and the success story of the commission cannot be told without the support and partnership of CSOs. The EFCC boss spoke through the Sokoto Zonal Commander, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, Aliyu Yunusa. He noted that the participants were closer to the citizens to spread the message of anti-corruption to the grassroots. In separate developments, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has denied media reports that its operatives murdered 2 children at a secondary school in Gwarimpa, Abuja. The spokesperson for the NSCDC's FCT command, Comfort Okomanyi, stated that the students in question were alive and recovering at a medical facility in the FCT. Okomanyi declared that the NSCDC Commandant General Ahmed Audi had formed an inquiry team to look into the situation. According to her, Audi further disclosed that the NSCDC was determined to implement an internal disciplinary system to punish any personnel found to be at fault in the regrettable situation. In another development, the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, has said that at least 300 billion naira is needed yearly for highway repairs. The agency said it planned to explore other funding sources outside budgetary allocation. The Managing Director, Emeka Agbasi, made this known during an interactive session with the House Committee on FEMA. According to him, the 2023 allocation was far less than the required target, with less than 50% of the total budget released so far. Agbasi, in a document submitted to the committee, stated that aside from the 90 projects awarded by the agency in 2023, no fewer than 200 others were being processed. Back here in the home front, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoyeno yesterday directed the immediate release of an additional 1.5 billion naira for payment of outstanding gratuities of retired workers in the state. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Kerete Udo, who disclosed the news, said it was a further confirmation of the governor's resolve to fulfill his pact with workers in the state. Recall that during his campaign, Pastor Eno had promised to continue paying backlogs of gratuities from where his immediate predecessor in office had stopped. Before the current release, 5.3 billion naira had been released by the governor for retired workers in the state, an attestation to the governor's humane disposition to the people of the state. A few weeks ago, an additional 1 month salary, otherwise called 13th month salary or ENOBA, was approved for civil servants in the state to bring Christmas cheers. Governor Omoyeno has, in under 6 months in office, touched on the critical pillars of the Arise agenda, especially in rural development, education, healthcare, security, and infrastructural maintenance. We go over now to Africa, where Cameroon Health Minister Dr. Mandonda Malashi has urged the population to trust the government's health policy amid growing skepticism over the malaria vaccines which arrived the country 9 days ago. In a statement, Malachi detailed the benefits of the RTS vaccine in the fight against malaria, praising the outcome of the testing phase in Kenya, Ghana, and Malawi. The health minister said based on the efficacy of the results obtained, the introduction of the vaccine will make it possible to cover the entire childhood and, depending on the coverage rates, avoid about 2,000 deaths among children under the 5 years of age every year. According to the World Health Organization, Cameroon records 6 million malaria cases with 4,000 deaths in health facilities every year. Still in health, the Somali authorities say more than 1 million people have now been forced to abandon their homes in the country due to floods caused by the El Nino weather phenomenon. This comes as world leaders gather in Dubai to discuss the climate crisis at the COP28. At least 270 people are reported to have died in Somalia, Kenya, and southern Ethiopia as the continental region, which is just coming out of prolonged drought, braces for further torrential rains. According to reports, in Somalia alone, more than 100 people have died in flash floods. On the foreign scene, Israel says 6 more hostages have returned to its territory after being released from Gaza under an extended temporary ceasefire which entered its 7th day yesterday. Qatar, a key mediator in the deal, says 2 Russian-Israeli nationals released on Wednesday were also counted in yesterday's tally, meaning the day's overall total of 10 has been reached. Meanwhile, Israel said it has freed 30 more Palestinian prisoners from jails in return. In reports, says talks are continuing about extending the pause with the U.S., saying it is working by the hour with Qatar, Egypt, and Israel to try and extend it. Still on the foreign scene, a spokesperson for the Hamas-controlled Ministry of Health, Dr. Ashraf Al-Qudra, has said that 14 people have been killed and dozens injured by Israeli strikes in Gaza today. Al-Qudra said the majority of those killed were women and children. A statement from the Hamas-controlled Ministry of Interior said Israeli strikes had resumed across Gaza earlier today after a temporary truce between the militant group and Israel ended. Still to come in the news. Nigeria begins 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations quest. Stay with us for details of this and more after this time out.
Christmas season is here again. Are you aware that making your business or products visible on a television space gives your brand a wider visibility and patronage? In the spirit of the season, Spectrum Television is offering a whopping 25% discount on all services. Advertise your products and services while this offer lasts from 1st December 2023 to January 31st, 2024. We are a television with a passion to take your business and services on a satisfactory lane. You do not want to miss this opportunity. For more inquiries, visit our city office at number 2 Taft Plaza Close off Kakaitinen Road, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, or call the following numbers on your screen. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon. For premium broadcasts and entertainment, sports on the go, and news around the world, watch Spectrum TV on StarTimes DTH channel 421 and free-to-air frequency 12733. Visit our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news stories. On our business news, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NIETI) and the Oil Producers Trade Section have met with oil firms and miners over how to enhance transparency and accountability in the nation's oil and gas and solid mineral sectors. Convened in Lagos, the forum, which was attended by the NIETI team, led by its Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Oji Ogbonnaya, had representatives from different oil firms speaking at the event. Ogbonnaya explained that the NIETI Companies Forum was a veritable platform through which the agency helped and the operating companies to comply with the Global Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. He stressed that participation at the highest level of NIETI process was compulsory, assuring that the agency would work with OPT to deepen and strengthen the companies forum, which he said witnessed a drawback due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Still in business, Seplat Energy's Director of External Affairs and Social Performance, Chioma Afe, has raised concerns about the adverse impact of the country's high diesel imports on the foreign exchange reserves. According to data from the International Trade Center, Nigeria spent $5.26 billion importing electric generating sets, electric transformers, vacuum cleaners, hair clippers, and other electrical machinery and equipment in 2020 and 2021. Afe noted that increasing access to electricity is critical for driving the development of the Nigerian economy. Explaining further, she said reliable and affordable power is an essential precondition for investment in many sectors, from technology to manufacturing. In health, the federal government and its development partners have said that the role of the private sector is crucial in improving funding for family planning and women's access to services across the country. The stakeholders said Nigeria needs to think about leveraging technology through the private sector to bridge the $29 million procurement funding gap for family planning commodities. Speaking during a high-level private sector forum on family planning in Lagos, organized by the United Nations Population Fund, the stakeholders expressed worry that maternal mortality has become a major public health challenge in Nigeria. They noted that making family planning services available to women and girls will not only curb maternal deaths in Nigeria, but also promote economic empowerment and growth. Meanwhile, as the world marks World AIDS Day today with the theme "Let Communities Lead," stakeholders in Akwa Ibom have called for the inclusion of communities in order to eradicate AIDS in the state. Speaking with Spectrum Television, they highlighted the important role of communities and their leadership in the fight against HIV and AIDS, as well as advocated that everyone should know their status. A correspondent, Blessing Dicton, completes the report.
2021, 1.9 million people were living with HIV and about 51,000 people died AIDS-related deaths. The world marks World AIDS Day today with the theme, Let Communities Lead, emphasizing the essential role of communities in the HIV response. Stakeholders are calling for action because everyone must be involved in the fight against AIDS.
Yeah, World AIDS Day, I mean, it's a global day for celebration that has been recognized since 1988 by the World Health Organization. It's a day where we come to remember all that has been done with the work as regards HIV and AIDS. The theme for this year, 2023, the global theme is Let Communities Lead. And Nigeria has domesticated that theme to be community leadership to end AIDS by 2030. So in Akwa Ibom, the last official number we have put the prevalence at 5.5. That was in 2018. And I can tell you without any doubt that a lot of work has been done. As at that time in 2018, we had, less than 50,000 people on treatment. But now we have over 100,000 people on treatment here in Akwa Ibom. And we're having babies born negative to mothers who are positive. We're doing a lot of work in the communities, identifying community birth centers, working with them to be able to prevent the mother-to-child transmission. So a lot of work is happening out there, and I believe that with the next survey, we will see, a significant decline in the prevalence of HIV here in Akwa Ibom. I think it starts with first everybody having the consciousness and the awareness that AIDS is real. HIV doesn't have any cure, and all of us should be interested in knowing our HIV status. For those who are negative, they need to remain negative. Multiple prevention methods, using condoms consistently and correctly. We even have drugs, pre-exposure prophylaxis drugs you can take before you have that risk, so we have drugs. Staying negative, staying healthy in terms of your behavior, your risk. So it's very important that for those who are negative, they stay negative. And for those who test and know their status and they are HIV positive and living with the virus, it's important for you to have treatment. With treatment, you can actually lead a normal life. With treatment, you can get up to a point where you cannot even transmit the virus, where we talk you equal to you. Undetectable is equal to untransmissible.
What is this day all?
So this day is just a World AIDS Day, an international day that we commemorate people that are living with HIV and also make an awareness so that more people that are in the communities can actually get tested. And the theme for this World AIDS Day is Let Community Lead. So the idea is that in our different communities, we should actually spread awareness that people living with HIV, that everybody should know their HIV status. And if you are positive, you should actually be placed on treatment. And the treatment is free. Just go to the community, go to the facilities and get tested and treated.
Know your status, abstain, be faithful to your partner, and use condoms. In Uyo, Blessing Dixon, Spectrum Television News.
We move down to sports, where Nigeria began their quest for a place in next year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON with a 5-0 thumping of Cape Verde at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. Uche Nakano and Esther Koronkwo scored a brace each, while Monday Gibbs got a goal as the Super Falcons recorded an emphatic win over the Minnows. As expected, the record WAFCON holders started the game on a sound note and did not take the time before Kanu opened the score sheet. She tapped in from a close range just 7 minutes into the game. Meanwhile, the second leg of the game will be played on Tuesday in the coastal city of Praia, the Cape Verdean capital. The winner of both fixtures will feature at the 2024 WAFCON in Morocco. Still in sports, Liverpool have reached the last 16 of the Europa League as group winners with victory over last week. Anfield, Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo both struck in the space of 3 first-half minutes before Mohamed Salah's penalty after the break and Gakpo's second late on in a straightforward win. Liverpool had total control inside 15 minutes following a quick-fire double. Shortly after, a well-worked move between Diaz, Salah and Gakpo around the last box was finished from close range by the Dutchman. On entertainment news, Inkblood Productions has officially confirmed the highly anticipated debut of No Way Through, a Nigerian crime thriller available globally and exclusively on streaming platform this December. The film boasts as an all-star cast of Nollywood legends, including Funke Akindele, Chidi Mokeme, Chioma Chukwuka, Ikechukwu, Nengi Adoki, Seun Ajayi, Junior Pope Esoedike, Roberta Oroma, and Shengez Olusemo. Directed by Chinaza Onuzo, No Way Through focuses on the cost of providing for one's family and the risk taken in the pursuit of freedom. Still on entertainment, Nigerian street hop rapper Oladibs has debunked claims that he faked his death to promote his new album Superhero Adugo, blaming it on rapper Q. Dot. Reacting to the rumors via his Instagram story, the rapper blamed Q. Dot for the allegations that he faked his death, saying he rushed to announce on social media that he was alive at a time his family was unsure of his situation. He lamented that Q. Dot made it look as if they had a conversation when they had not spoken this year. Recall that some of Oladip's associates, including rapper Q. Dot, had taken to social media to reveal that Oladip was very much alive. If that's all we have for you at this time, do well to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng. My name is Uyai Anek, and thanks for being a part of the news at 12. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon.